Well, Saturday night, Israel illegally boarded the Handala ship, which was on its way to Gaza to deliver aid. There are 7 Americans that are on that ship. The other volunteers are internationals, but they were kidnapped in the middle of the night. You're going to see a message here from Chris Smalls to alert you that if you saw this video, that he was already captured. Now, these videos were recorded prior to, and then they're released, I believe, by, it was the Freedom Flotilla Coalition that goes ahead and releases them when they're captured. There was a live stream. I'll show you, because people, if you're wondering, like, how do we know when they were captured? Because they were following the boat. It was live streamed. We'll get to that, and I'll show you when the capture happened. This was Chris Smalls' message here.
My name is Chris Smalls from the United States. If you are seeing this video, we have been intercepted at sea and have been kidnapped by the Israeli occupation forces or forces of the country complicit in Israel's genocide of the Palestinians. I appeal to my comrades, friends, family, to everyone to put pressure on the U.S. government to demand my release and the release of my comrades as soon as possible. Thank you.
Chris Smalls, again, a lot of us were introduced to Chris Smalls when he was trying to, fight with workers at Amazon to unionize the warehouse in Staten Island, which he did win that fight. So that's how I first became known about Christian Smalls. He was one of the earlier guests that came onto this show in 2021. That was before they won the fight. And I said this before, Chris Smalls could have just easily just taken every business opportunity that was offered to him. They could have said, we're going to make a movie about you, all these kind of things. He could have just accepted that and just collect his bag and just faded into the sunset. But he's still out there being an activist and still fighting for what is right. And I think that that's important for people to acknowledge. Now, the other day, there was a live feed where we were following the boat. And I just want to show you, this is earlier during the day. As you can see here, for the most part, pretty calm. They were getting pretty close to Gaza. You can see at the bottom left-hand corner here of the video that shows their marker there, how close they were getting to Gaza. And again, that was during the afternoon. So by the time they got to Gaza, it was evening. So what you'll see now is, if we fast forward, as it gets into the night, this is when things start to change. Just, similarly to it when Gretchen was on the previous ship. So you'll see here, and I think there's a little bit of sound as we go further. So that leads into when the IDF boarded that boat. So I want to go into that video so you can see it here. Again, I just want to remind everyone, this is illegal. This is piracy, what Israel is doing. These are international waters. So you can see the IDF comes in here. Notice they have their hands up. And again, I just have to reiterate this. It's international waters. They have no right to be on this ship, to board this ship like they did. They have every right to sail across those waters, and they shouldn't even have to put their damn hands up. You can see it here. So this is kidnapping, ladies and gentlemen. Where are the U.S. politicians, right? Where are the U.S. politicians? Because like I said, there's 7 Americans that were on that boat. So they were kidnapped. I don't even like saying detained anymore. I like saying kidnapped because you took them against their will. And it says here, Christian Smalls, like Chris tried to let people know that if he was captured, what he was going to do. When is no, it's not real, kidnaps us. Please follow Gaza Freedom Flotilla and the Labor Party USA IG account for updates on my status until I am released from prison. I will not sign any paperwork and will remain as long as possible on a hunger strike. If Gaza can't eat, neither will I. That's Chris Smalls. So, as I said before, Chris Smalls there, again, doesn't have to be there, but he is. Like, he could have just rode off into the sunset after he won and got so much publicity, but Chris Smalls knows that what Israel's doing is wrong. Like, he is a true activist, as you can see. Now, here's another image here. This is about Egypt. Thank you, Sarah Wilkinson. Egypt has denied the Handala safe passage into Egyptian seas to protect the 21 civilian crew from Israelis. So I got some things to say. We're going to get to this video in just a second, but I have some things to say to Egypt really quick. You know what? Shame on you. Shame on Egypt. Egypt here doing the bidding of the U.S. government, doing the bidding of the genocidal state of Israel. Shame on you. You should be disgraced. Disgraced. When you know that there is famine in Gaza, you know that those people are starving. But here you come in to block. Very disgusting. But you can see that here.
Port El Arish, Port El Arish, Port El Arish. This is the civilian vessel Navarne, Handala, call sign Mike Sierra Golf Quebec 6. So I'm going to do that again. Port El Arish, Port El Arish, Port El Arish. This is the civilian vessel Navarne, Handala, call sign Mike Sierra Golf Quebec 6, calling you on channel 16. Please respond. For those watching, we changed course and started heading south towards Egyptian waters. Right outside what's called the contiguous zone of Egyptian waters, and we previously requested permission to enter because we were under threat by Israeli forces, and
so they're in Egypt water, like Egypt territory. So what they were trying to do, it seems like, is ask Egypt for permission to be able to get through. And of course, Egypt decides no.
This was an hour ago. We are trying again. They initially responded when we called them. Then when they knew what we wanted, they stopped responding. And now they are not answering our call.
Can move up a little bit more here.
When I called out to the Israeli Navy, as I mentioned, we have tried reaching them a number of times. They have said in their media that they are going to give us an option of turning around so that we are not captured. They have not reached out to us at all via any means, any modem. And so we proactively reached out to them to tell them not to attack us. And so they lied, but that's not any kind of surprise. They lied. They said that they are, planning.
I have to stop it here because you hear the radio a little bit in the background. But yeah, all of these other countries that jump in to at this point, defend Israel. That's what Egypt is doing at this point. When Egypt tells them they can't come through, also don't forget all the people that got on the buses from Tunisia and they were trying to come through to deliver aid to Gaza, and Egypt stopped them and blocked them. They are defending Israel. So all of the other Arab countries that just sit back and let these things happen, or they block any type of progress trying to come through, they are complicit. That is Egypt, that is Jordan, that is Saudi Arabia, that is the UAE. They are puppets of the US government, and they're basically paid to be puppets of the US government. And I don't understand how Egypt is right there on the border of Rafah in Gaza. They know exactly what's going on. There are refugees in Egypt. There are Palestinian refugees in Egypt. When Nico House went to Egypt, he found out there were Syrian refugees in Egypt. Egypt knows exactly what is going on and what is happening to the Palestinian people. And what is unnerving is that they are helping Israel because that's what they're paid to do. It's a damn shame. It's absolutely a damn shame. It's disgusting. And I wanted to show you that because earlier Sunday morning, it says Bassem Youssef commentary shared this. Egyptian aid trucks start moving to enter Gaza. So far, aid trucks are heading from Egypt, Jordan, and the UAE. Most of the trucks contain baby milk and flour. I hope the aid arrives safely. So here's the problem, folks. So they got these aid trucks, Egypt, Jordan, UAE, etc. Here's the problem. By just saying we'll fix this problem by sending in aid, you're not addressing the full issue, which is that Palestinians are being killed when they go to collect the aid. So as long as you stand there and you continue to defend Israel, how are they even going to get the aid that you're trying to send in? This is the problem. We have seen the videos, we have heard the stories and the accounts, and you'll hear another one from a Green Beret in just a second, of people telling you as they go to get the aid, the IDF is shooting them. The IDF soldiers have come forward and said they were ordered to kill anybody coming to get the aid. So these statements that you're hearing from late ass Cory Booker, late ass Hakeem Jeffries, now saying we need to get aid in. Both of them are AIPAC puppets, by the way. If you notice in their statements, they do not address the fact that Israel is killing the people seeking the aid. This is the games that the West plays. Oh, people are starving. Okay, we need to get more aid in. Remember this? This was also done under Biden and Kamala too, where they said we need to get more aid in. We got to get the aid in, but not addressing the issue of Israel killing the people to get the aid. And matter of fact, the more that you think about it, it almost kind of seems like the West says, let's get the aid in so the people can get the aid so that more people can get killed. There are other ways that aid can be given to Palestinian people, but they know that Israel is controlling the way that the aid is distributed, and they know that they are killing those people on site when they show up to get the food. They are literally playing Squid Game right now in Gaza. It's not funny. It's not a fucking joke. They are literally playing Squid Game in real life, where people's lives are put on the line to get food. And all of these politicians that back and support Israel, they're all complicit. Cory Booker, you're late. You don't matter. Hakeem Jeffries, you're late. You don't matter. Both of you are puppets, and now you've received the signal that it's okay to come forward and say, we have to do something about the crisis, the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. They got the thumbs up to address it, so now that's okay. That's why they're tweeting about it now. But they voted to send the weapons in. They voted to send the weapons in. Cory Booker is friends with Rabbi Shmuley. Hakeem Jeffries is an AIPAC puppet, has been an AIPAC puppet since the moment right before he got into Congress. These are the games the West plays. Let's just say they need more aid, they need more food, knowing goddamn well those people are being killed when they go to get the food. And all those people are complicit, Democrats and Republicans. Now, Listen to what the Green Beret said that he saw.
In Gaza after he retired and left, he says, when he saw American colleagues and the IDF killing civilians. The soldier is Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Aguilar, a Special Forces veteran of the U.S. Army's Green Berets. He's in Washington. I spoke to him from a spot just near the Gaza border.
I witnessed the Israeli Defense Forces shooting at the crowds of Palestinians. I witnessed the Israeli Defense Forces firing a main gun tank round from the Merkava tank into a crowd of people, destroying a car of civilians that were simply driving away from the site. I witnessed mortar rounds being fired at the crowds of people to keep them controlled.
As a professional soldier with a very long career, what was your professional opinion of what was happening?
My professional opinion of how the sites were established was what I would describe as amateur, inexperienced, untrained, no idea of how to conduct operations of this magnitude. That would be my most benign assessment. In my most frank assessment, I would say that they're criminal. In my entire career, have I never witnessed the level of brutality and use of indiscriminate and unnecessary force against a civilian population, an unarmed, starving population. I've never witnessed that in all of the places I've been deployed to war until I was in Gaza at the hands of the IDF and US contractors.
Based on the knowledge you have, do you think that you were a witness then to war crimes? I think you're saying that very emphatically.
Without question, I witnessed war crimes. I witnessed war crimes being held by the Israeli Defense Forces, without a doubt, using artillery rounds, mortar rounds, firing tank rounds into unarmed civilians is a war crime.
People can resist hunger for...
So did you hear what he said? That's the Green Beret. Cindy McCain has gone on record recently talking about what was happening there as well, right? So it's not just him. And yet, here's Donald Trump. They all got the same playbook.
Will I do more aid? Yeah. The U.S. is going to do more aid for Gaza, but we'd like to have other countries participate. We're going to mention that to the European Union today. That's an international problem. It's not a U.S. problem. It's an international problem. And we're giving a lot of money and a lot of food and a lot of everything. If we weren't there, I think people would have starved, frankly. They would have starved. And it's not like they're eating well, but a lot of that food is getting stolen by Hamas. You know, they're stealing the food. They're stealing a lot of things. You ship it in and they steal it. Then they sell it.
That has actually been proven false, and he's still repeating that lie. It has been proven false, and he's still repeating that lie. In fact, corporate media even reported this just 2 days ago, that Israel has no evidence and no proof that Hamas was actually stealing the aid. And they went on to say that they can't say that that was actually happening. So do you see the game that is being played? At the end of the day, this is not just about the aid. People don't fall into the trap. The trap that they're trying to lure you into is to convince you into believing that the way you solve this issue is just by bringing more aid in. When they do that, they are turning their face away from the fact that when people go to get this aid, they are being killed. So you can dump thousands and thousands of aid into Gaza, but if people are shooting you as you go to grab it, you are not going to get the aid. That is the part that they're avoiding. That's a trick. Because if they acknowledge that people are being killed when they go to get the aid, they have to say that Israel is doing something wrong. Even here on CNN, they still don't get it. He brings it up, but he still doesn't get it completely right.
Why did it take this long? I mean, in November of last year, the International Criminal Court issued a warrant for the arrest of Benjamin Netanyahu for the war crime of starvation 8 months ago, before Israel cut off all food, all water, all electricity into the Gaza Strip for 3 months. And to say the United States is silent, it's much, much worse than that. We are profoundly complicit and deeply responsible. It is our weapons that enforce this starvation. It is our diplomatic efforts that prevent international justice from being done. The blood is on our hands as Americans because it is our weapons that is responsible for those children starving to death.
No blood.
Pause. Even Peter, while he has a point, he still don't get it fully right. Right? Because Peter is taking you back to November. He's not taking you back to October of last year. He's not taking you back to 2023 when Israel did this. There have been multiple times where Israel has cut off the electricity, where they have blocked the aid, where IDF soldiers have burned the aid, where they had their children line up to mock people at the border, where they were cooking food and grilling food right next to the border where people were starving. That's been happening for years. That wasn't just November, as Peter puts it. And watch him fall for this trap here from Scott Jennings. Watch this.
Children starving to death.
No blood for the hands of Hamas.
You see what happened in here? So Scott, again, he's another Israel puppet. Scott doesn't want to hold Israel accountable. So his saying is, let's just put all the blame back on Hamas. Let me be very clear about this, okay? That has nothing to do with people starving those children in Gaza. Nothing to do with that. But Scott Jennings, he's another paid tool of Israel. He went over there to kiss Netanyahu's ass. He don't want to sit up there and tell you the truth because that's not what he's paid to do. So he has to put the blame back on Hamas. Now, I've said this multiple times before. Under international law, people who are occupied, who are oppressed, have the right to resist with force. That is international law. Scott Jennings knows this. These people are puppets. Now watch Peter fall for it.
Hamas has
Is there
lots
no
of...
blood
No,
on
no,
your
no.
hands?
Why don't you let me finish? How about that? Okay?
I'm just
Okay.
asking.
Yes,
You
of
blamed
course.
Israel and you blamed the
Sorry.
U.S., but we haven't heard Hamas yet. I'm just
I
asking.
actually have one of my closest friends in college was blown up by
asking.
Hamas. I have probably a lot more experience with suffering from Hamas, with all due respect, than you do. Let's say this. If we want to see who is more to blame for the starvation...
So do you see how he falls right into that trap? One of my friends was killed by Hamas. Who's the friend? What was the friend doing? When did this happen? Was the friend a settler? Were they Israeli? Were they going in there inflicting pain on the Palestinian people? We don't get no backstory. But you see how he just falls right for the trap.
Of children in Gaza, Hamas or Israel, let CNN in. Israel has not allowed Western journalists in since October 7th. Let them go in, let CNN go in and decide for themselves. How about that?
Pause. You see the trap there as well? So first he almost said they haven't allowed in international journalists. Then he caught himself and he said Western journalists. Because I was about to say there have been several international journalists that have been covering this from day one. There have been international journalists covering the occupation and oppression for years prior to October 7th. So then he had to flip that up and the Western journalists and allow us to come in. CNN was there. We covered a number of stories on this show where CNN did go in. Remember, they went there and they had the reporters cover the mass graves. We covered that on the show, the graves that were desecrated by Israel. So they all over the damn place. Again, don't fall trapped to this, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget, at the end of the day, these networks, their job is still to defend and back Israel. And the only reason you're hearing them complain more about what's happening in Gaza now, particularly CNN, is because it's happening under Donald Trump. When we saw these things happening under the Biden-Kamala presidency, they continued to find ways to either not report on it, or they would report that it was Hamas who was doing those things. I have not seen CNN come back and retract any of those reports. CNN was the one that spread the lie about the beheaded babies, which, by the way, till today, Jake Tapper still continues to spread that lie. This is not just about children starving. This is not just about famine. This is a full-on Western corporate, military, industrial, colonial project that is backed and supported and endorsed by corporate media. That's what this is. This is an extension of a colonial project that started back in 1946 with the Nakba, and it has continued to expand. That's what it is. So when anybody comes to you and they say, well, we got to protect Israel, it's about their security. This is not about security. This is about protecting colonialism, and that's what they're doing. And that's how you flip it back on them. Don't let these people come to you with this bullshit. Don't let them come to you with this. Those of you, if you're like me, we know better. We didn't seen this before. Those of you who are indigenous, you know better. You didn't seen this before. So we know exactly what is happening. And corporate media supported it. The US government supported it. The other Arab nations, with the exception of Iran and Yemen, have also supported it. And of course, Hezbollah and Lebanon, they all supported it. They supported the expansion of colonialism. And that's why kids are starving in Gaza. And that's why Hamas did what they did. And that's why Israel wants to continue to kill people and steal homes in the West Bank. That's why these things are happening. This is not about religion. This is about supremacy and colonialism and an expansion of it. And that's why they also say they want to go and liberate Africa. Don't you let these people fool you. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.